My name is George Eli. I'm an American Rom. I am a third-generation American. My family on my mother's side and my father's side came over to the U.S. during what the U.S. called the Great Migration. So my great-grandparents came over the Atlantic with a whole bunch of different Europeans. And what's interesting is most Rome were sent back. It was a fact that Rome would be racially profiled and they would be sent back to Europe. They were legally undesirable in that exact quote. But a lot of the Rome that would come over found out the system that they would send them back. So they would take off the regalia on the boats. My grandmother, great-grandmother, when she came over, they found out that Rome were just sent back. So she told fortune to the women on the boat, and she bought clothes and she changed her kids into kind of like a very European-looking dress and took off the regalia, and they identified themselves as Greek citizens. And when they were asked if they were Roma or Gypsy, they pretended like they didn't even know what the guy was talking about. And that's how they got into the country. So, growing up in America in the 70s, in a Roma family, we didn't grow up like a typical American kid. I didn't go to school. Nobody I knew went to school. We were already just kind of like, we had what my grandparents would call Romanoshkala, which is like, you know, learning a trait, learning how to deal with your other local Rom, learning respect, learning how to dress properly, learning how to properly. And the business that we grew up in, my mother, my aunts, everybody ever knew, were the English word fortune tellers. We would say dabarne, which, you know, drab means medicine, potion makers. Every household I knew had, you know, an altar and a crystal ball and a reading room. This was normal life for me. You know, I didn't know, I really don't know how living without spirituality and drabarimos. I have no idea what that would even look like. But the way I was taught Maro Dabarimos is healers, spiritual healers, the original therapists, the original psychologists, the original motivational speakers, the original positive over negative speaking. And if we look at the survival, this is my grandparents used to say, if you look at the survival of the Romania during such oppression, slavery, and racism, and genocide, the Dabarno disposition played a part in that positive thinking and non-loyalty to a certain land. You know, I speak to a lot of American people, and they have such loyalty to their house or their state and their land, and it's not to a community, but it's an actual land. But in where I grew up, that's ridiculous. You're loyal to the people, not to the ground. And a lot of Rom came over during the Great Migration, and you have families mostly from Eastern Europe. The Machwaya and the Galdarash are I think the largest American Rom here. And actually I'm both. My mother's from the Machwaya tribe and my father's from the Galdarash, and each side thinks that they're better than the other. Despite the obvious difference that the Machwaya have a slight accent, the traditions, the culture is so similar. There's only subtle differences. But as far as the weddings and the language and the community, it's extremely similar. Subtle differences. Sama show nepoca, pan shora ayek shao, jana dishkala, but le sheyan kam chikam jan maibut an dishkala o sharo jao. Maga glate, maga shave, maga dui shave sa on the Mughal community. Le only dui shave kai galeando high school. I graduated shave. And Purano Shao is a realtor. I don't know how you say it in Romanes. Yeah, it's a realtor. Family means everything, and I think I took off my mother's side from that. My father's side, I took the more assimilation, because my grandfather was a Crisatori. I don't know if I know you guys don't have that in Europe anymore, but the Cris is very much, tribunals are very much alive here in America. It's the only respected body of law that we have here in the U.S. It's not as potent as it was when I was younger, but it's still very much, you can't do much without the Cris saying you could do it. So, yeah, they're family oriented, and Galdarash are, you know, they'll intermarry, Machwaya won't. And when I say intermarry, to other gypsy tribes. Like Machwaya really like to stay with Machwaya. They'll do it, you know, but it's frowned upon. They're a little racist. We're a little racist. My mother's family's a little racist. Yeah, to each other, you know, with other Romano tribes, you know. Their big word is Nayamarotem, which means that's not our people, that's not our people. I grew up in a fortune-telling Dabarimos family. That's all we ever really did. And growing up, I thought it was ridiculous that we all did it. And so I broke away. I wanted to be rebellious, and I studied filmmaking. And I did it for a while, and I love it. But look where I am back again. When they say it's in your blood, it's in your blood. It's what pays the bills. I love making movies. I love writing. I love doing other stuff. But this, I'm always coming home to Dabarimos, no matter what. It's just, I don't know. It's just, I think it's DNA. I don't think it's nurture. It's like almost like if you remove the Dabarimos, it's almost like you remove their Romanes. That's the way they think about it. I don't think about it that way. But as you could see, it's convenient for me that I don't have to think about it because I have it, you know. Remove it from me, I don't know how I would feel. People that walk in that are totally ignorant to it, they have a very Hollywood understanding of it. That you're going to sit with someone and that psychic is going to look into that crystal ball and somehow the crystal ball would reveal the things in their future. That's very Hollywood. And because we're a business, we like to make them happy, so we provide the visual for them. But when they actually sit down and they realize that I'm not looking into the crystal ball is on the table because the crystal ball circulates the energy. That's why it has to be on a round table. Nobody looks into the ball. It's Hollywood, right? All my life, and till today, it's when I just start to talk and I pinpoint someone's pain, and then I just give them Romano Redo on how to deal with that pain. That's all. That's all it is. See, if you want to talk about just Dabarimos, you can't really talk about successful dabarimos without talking about the survival and disposition of the Rom. Okay? You see, non-Rom take life too seriously. Rom understand that if you're alive, that's great. Okay? You know, but Gage attach themselves to theories and to, like I said, land and to you know, human constructs, when the Romania wouldn't survive if they did that because of the oppression and the hate and the, you know, no land and no army. They couldn't survive with that disposition. And I always said that the Romania, in my opinion, from an outsider, from an American disposition, looking upon Europe, the way an American lens of European Roma, you know how I think of European Roma? I think that the Roma nation is a shadow state of Europe. That's the way I look at it. Because I can walk on the street in London or Paris and I'll see Rome everywhere. Like when I got lost in Berlin, I just found Rome on the street and they gave me directions. It's not like that in Chicago or Cleveland or, you know?